modern metropolis of London has roots that go back to Roman times when it was a small Roman outpost on the Thames River called Londinium. Over the centuries, the city has grown immensely in size and importance, now being one of the largest economic hubs in the world. Join us on a journey as we explore an area called the City of London, London's oldest district and the site of the ancient Roman city. We will travel from Roman times to the medieval, to the Victorian era, to the modern, all in this fascinatingly historic area.
Okay, when you're in the City of London, you definitely have to see St. Paul's Cathedral, which is obviously right behind me. Now, the Dome of St. Paul's Cathedral is the second largest dome in the world after the Vatican in Rome, right? Now, this church began as a Roman Catholic church, right? So there's been a church dedicated to St. Paul at this site since 604 AD. Now, the current structure you're seeing is not from 604, right? So the current structure is from the early 1700s, right? And it has beautiful, amazing architecture. We're gonna go inside and learn all about its history and what makes it so special. But what is so great about St. Paul's is it can be seen all over London, and it really represents what it means to be in London and be English and what the Church of England represents here in London. So let's head in.
St. Paul's Cathedral, completed in 1710, is an architectural masterpiece situated right in the heart of the City of London. This amazingly beautiful structure replaced a predecessor that was ravaged by the Great Fire of London in 1666. Its amazing dome is truly awe-inspiring, and the various mosaics, elegant chapels, and ornate interior speak to the dedication of art and spirituality of Enlightenment-era Londoners. Make your way down to the crypt of the cathedral, where there is a small museum that allows you to learn all about St. Paul's history and historic timeline. Also in the crypt, you will find the tombs of many illustrious figures in British history, including Admiral Nelson and the Duke of Ellington. These tombs add a layer of historical richness to this sacred space. Next, make the climb up to the Dome of St. Paul's. There are multiple levels, and you first begin overlooking the entire cathedral from the dome above. It feels like you're really inside the glorious ceiling, watching over the people below. Keep climbing and you will find yourself on the roof of St. Paul's. Your reward is a fantastic view in all directions of the entirety of London. Here you can reflect on the importance and beauty of this magnificent cathedral as an inspiring symbol of the heartbeat of historic London. Next, check out Ye Olde Mitre. Established in 1546, this is arguably the oldest continuously running pub in London and really feels like it as you enter through a small dark alleyway. The pub oozes historic charm and attracts a business crowd. It's a great place to stop on your touring to have a pint in the same small dark alleyway that patrons have been enjoying for almost 500 years.
So when you're here in the City of London, you have to see the original London walls. So that's behind me. And interestingly, right here is the medieval Tower of London. Now, this dates back to Roman times, right? So this is from about 200 AD. So a lot of people don't know this. They think of London as this medieval city, but it was actually called Londinium. So it was a very important Roman city, and it had a wall surrounding it. The entire City of London had a wall surrounding it. Now, it's very modern now. There's like skyscrapers and like luxury apartment buildings, but there are pieces and remnants of the wall that you could see all through the city. Okay, so the next thing you have to see in the City of London is the famous Tower of London, where we are right now. Now, the Tower of London is famous for executions and torture, and it's been used for a lot of different things, right? So we're gonna go through the tower a little bit, learn a little bit about its fascinating history, and show you some of the most interesting things that you could see in London.
The Tower of London tops the list of sites that most visitors want to see when visiting London, and for good reason. This tower is the site of execution, betrayal, murder, scandal, and death. It has a dark atmosphere and adds to the mystique of this almost 1,000-year-old fortress. We also have a video going much deeper into the history and story of the tower. Check that out on the channel page if you're interested. One of the first locations that you want to see is Traitor's Gate. This historic gate brought several of the most famous people that were executed into the tower by boat, as it connects directly to the River Thames. Next, check out the Ravens. These eerie birds guard the tower, and legend has it that if the ravens ever left, the British Empire would crumble. They walk around the grounds, but make sure not to touch them, as they're known to bite. The next thing you are going to want to see is the White Tower. This is the central keep of the entire Tower of London complex, and is now the location of an interesting museum showcasing amazing suits of armor, weaponry, and more. Check out this suit of armor belonging to King Henry VIII, showing off his supposed well-endowedness. Make your way over to St. John's Chapel. This still consecrated place of worship is the holiest site in the tower, and its medieval architecture makes it an idyllic place to stop and reflect during your tour of London, and a welcome break from the dark history and general vibe of the tower. Check out these authentic weapons used to execute prisoners in the tower.
So if you want to learn more in-depth information about the tower and its history and all the different buildings and what happened at each place, I recommend you take one of the Yemen Warder tours. So they're completely free, it comes with your admission, and they'll kind of take you throughout the grounds and tell you what everything means, because sometimes having the map and having the signs don't really tell you everything, right? And it helps to get a first-hand account. So definitely check that out if you're interested.
This pillow memorial is the believed site of the execution of many of the most famous prisoners in the tower, including Anne Boleyn, Catherine Howard, and St. Thomas More. The memorial really has an eerie feel as you ponder the fear these people must have been encountering, accused for what we would not consider today as any real crime. Also, check out this graffiti left by prisoners in the tower. For a short time, the Tower of London also was a royal residence. In this section, you can check out the homes of King Edward I and his father, King Henry III. Step into this medieval palace and wander around the rooms, halls, and mysterious corridors with its cavernous ceiling and unpenetrable stone walls. The roof of the medieval palace is also a great place to look out into the River Thames, affording you amazing views and jaw-dropping photography. This is considered the most Instagrammable part of the Tower of London, but I like to simply just take it all in and ponder the history of this great building while overlooking the river. Finally, you have to check out the Crown Jewels. This is the home of some of the most historic and priceless jewelry and royal attire in the world. Here you can gawk at amazing crowns and scepters, imagining the glory of centuries of British monarchs and their contributions to world history.
Now, when you're in the City of London, you're going to want to see the Tower Bridge. Now, this is the Tower Bridge, not the London Bridge. A lot of people think this is the London Bridge because this is the most dramatic bridge that crosses the Thames, but this is actually the Tower Bridge. Now, it looks very medieval, but it's actually not medieval. It was built in the late 19th century, so it's about 150 years old, not quite, but it's a fantastic bridge to cross. I mean, you get amazing views of London and the Thames, and you can actually go up to it. We're not going to go up to it in this tour, but you can go up to it. It's like a 200 stair climb to the top. You can actually go to the top here, and you can look down on the traffic of the Thames below. Also, too, the bridge opens, the middle span opens a couple times per month. So check and see. There's a schedule online if that's happening when you're around. It's pretty cool to see large boats go underneath it.
The Tower Bridge, built in 1894, elegantly spans the River Thames and is an international symbol of the City of London. Its majestic towers and intricate bascules blend Victorian engineering and aesthetic splendor. The bridge is a crucial connecting point across the Thames and offers breathtaking panoramic views of the entire city. The Tower Bridge stands tall over the River Thames and proves to not be merely a crossing, but is a testament to London's history, engineering prowess, and historical charm. You will notice that the City of London, even though it is the most historic district in London and really marks the beginning of the city, today also has an incredibly modern feel. The City of London is the home of London's central business district and is filled with office buildings and has become a big center of employment. This is the home of some of the largest corporations in London, making it one of the largest and most important central business districts in Europe and the world. When you're here, check out the monument to the Great Fire of London. In 1666, a great fire broke out in London, decimating much of the city and leaving a remarkable 85% of the city's population homeless and killing 6. This offered the city the opportunity to rebuild, but left its mark on the character and feel of London forever.
So one thing you have to see is the Jack the Ripper Museum, which is behind me. So we're technically not in the City of London anymore. We're technically about 10 minutes east in London's East End or Whitechapel neighborhood. So this is the neighborhood where all the Jack the Ripper murders occurred in the 1880s, right? So the neighborhood is getting more gentrified, but it has been known historically as London's poorer area. So you go into the museum and it's in an old Victorian apartment building, like a tenement, right? And you learn all about the murders and all about one of the most notorious unsolved crimes in world history. So let's head in.
You begin your journey in what criminologists believe Jack the Ripper's home may have looked like. He was crafty with a knife and not only brutally killed his victims, but also greatly mutilated their bodies. Talk about creepy. The museum also shows you the real equipment the police officer was carrying the night the first victim was found, and teaches you how law enforcement handled the various cases. Next, you make your way up the stairs and can see what one of the victims' rooms would have looked like. The victims were all women, extremely poor, usually alcoholics, and were known to be prostitutes. Here you learn all about their individual stories, and it really personalizes the whole event, helping you understand the true destitution in London's East End. Finally, make your way to the cellar where you can see photos and obituaries of the victims. It's too graphic to show on here, but if you have a strong stomach, you can see all the photos from the case. Finally, the museum teaches you about the plight of the East End in the late 1800s and the improvements of the district over the last several decades. A hidden gem that a lot of people miss amongst the hustle and bustle of modern London is St. Olave's Church. It was completed in 1450, however, there has been a church at this location far earlier, as far back as the 13th century, and it is one of the few medieval churches that escaped the Great Fire of London in 1666. I recommend stopping here to relax and reflect on your big tour of the City of London amongst the impressive medieval architecture and amazingly ornate stained glass windows. Make sure you check out the Millennium Bridge. This modern marvel spans the River Thames and proves to be a symbol of architectural innovation. This pedestrian-only bridge was completed in 2000 and affords you amazing views of the river, St. Paul's, and the City of London. This bridge stands as a testament to the city's contemporary spirit, linking centuries of history with a forward-looking embrace towards the future of this great city. Westminster and St. James are London's most iconic neighbourhoods. These areas are the home of Big Ben, the Houses of Parliament, Buckingham Palace, and more. This area is what many visitors think of when they think of London. The area blends the modern with the traditional and really represents what it means to be English and British. These areas are the centre of government and royal authority in London and the UK as a whole. So what must you see and do in these iconic London neighbourhoods?
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Project Gaia. Today we are in London's Westminster and St. James neighborhood. Now, this neighborhood is famous because it is filled with some of the most iconic landmarks and sights to see in London. So what we're going to do on this tour is we're going to go through the neighborhood, explore it a little bit, learn a little bit about its history, and take you into all of the famous sites, and within those sites, learn more about them. So, let's begin. So when you're in Westminster, you have to visit Westminster Abbey, which is behind me. Now, this church is from 960 AD, so it's over 1,000 years old, right? So it has a fascinating history, and it serves as the royal church, so the royals get married here. There also is a lot of famous people buried here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the church and learn all about its history and why it's such an important piece of English and British heritage. So, let's head in.
Westminster Abbey is one of London's most iconic landmarks. This Gothic architectural gem has witnessed numerous royal coronations, weddings, and significant national events. The intricate stone facades, spires, and statues evoke a sense of grandeur, while inside the abbey, its soaring nave and beautiful stained glass windows create a serene and awe-inspiring atmosphere. This location is significant to world history, as this is the place where numerous kings and queens throughout history were coronated. This elaborate ceremony marks the beginning of a new era in the UK and has for centuries. Several famous people from history are laid to rest in Westminster Abbey, including many royals, whose influence have quite literally changed the course of world history. Besides royals, there are several famous thinkers and writers who are laid to rest here. Make sure you check out the Poets' Corner, which is an area of the Abbey where some of the most influential writers in British and world literature are buried. Also, check out the cloisters. These Gothic interior corridors are amazingly ornate and allow you to step back into the medieval era through their amazing stone cavernous walkways. Finally, check out the coronation chair. This chair has been used in the royal coronation ceremony for centuries and is quite interesting to see.
Now, on the top of most people's list when they're here in Westminster and St. James is Big Ben, which is behind me. So, Big Ben is actually not the name of the tower. Big Ben refers to just the clock itself. Now, there are tours you can actually go up and walk up to through Big Ben, but I think what's so great about Big Ben is it really is such an iconic symbol of what it means to be English and British, and it really is such a symbol of what London stands for. So definitely, walk through here, take some pictures of it, and you'll get some really good Instagram pics too. There are some good locations. Some are better than others. Like there's a park across the street. Right where I'm standing is pretty good. And then from the river, it also has very good pictures. So take a look at that if you're interested. Okay, the next place you want to see is the Palace of Westminster, also known unofficially as the Houses of Parliament, and it's housed in this beautiful Gothic Revival building behind me. So there's been a building here devoted to Parliament since the Middle Ages, right? So since about 10th, 11th century. This building was constructed in the mid-1800s because the original medieval building was mostly lost due to fire. But what this is basically is this is the seat of government here in the UK. So a lot of people go to just see the building and to see how beautiful it is, but there are tours that you can take. There's guided tours, which you have to book many weeks in advance, where you can go through it and they teach you all about government here in the UK and how it functions and all things like that. You can also do a self-guided tour, which you don't need to book in advance. You can just book the day of, you just kind of walk up and you can go through the building and there's signs and self-guides. You can learn all about government here in the UK as well. There's an audio guide too, so if you want to get kind of that more in-depth knowledge, I suggest using that. So let's head in.
Most of the Palace of Westminster was built in the 19th century after a great fire engulfed London in 1834, and the oldest and first section you see is the Great Hall. This is the only remaining structure from the first House of Parliament. It is the location of many famous coronations and trials in British history. Unfortunately, most of the Palace of Westminster cannot be filmed due to the sensitive and private nature of being a governmental building, and this is the only area that is able to be filmed or photographed. But as you stroll through the palace, you can learn all about how government works in the UK.
Now, the next thing that you might want to see when you're here in Westminster and St. James is the London Eye, which is behind me. Now, the London Eye is a massive Ferris wheel. It's a newer edition of London. It was commemorated on New Year's Eve in 1999, so it was really built for the new millennium, right? So it's about 23 years old as of this recording. And what's cool about it is you can go up in it, and it goes very slow, right? It takes a half hour to go around, but you get fantastic views all over London.
As you stroll down the Thames River, check out Scotland Yard. This is the British version of the FBI or CIA and is the center of government intelligence and police. So the oldest thing in London is not Big Ben, Buckingham Palace, the Tower of London, or even the Roman walls. But what is Cleopatra's Needle. The Egyptian obelisk dates back to 1450 BC and was constructed during the reign of Pharaoh Thutmose III. In the late 19th century, the obelisk was gifted to the UK and was placed along Victoria Embankment along the River Thames.
Now, one place you have to come is St. James Park, hence the name of the entire neighborhood. So it's this beautiful urban park right in the center of London, and it really is so grand. I mean, it has beautiful, majestic gardens. There's people hanging out, big old age trees, amazing flowers, there's bridges, there's lakes. Really is something to do when you're here in London, and it helps you kind of get away from the crowd a little bit. So definitely come here.
St. James's Park is a picturesque and tranquil urban oasis in the center of London that was established in the early 17th century. This royal park is amazingly beautiful and offers idyllic views of some of London's most prominent landmarks. Whether you're looking for a leisurely stroll, a moment of peace from the bustling streets of London, or simply to enjoy its lush greenery, the park is a cherished haven for both Londoners and visitors alike. St. James's Palace, located within the park, was built by King Henry VIII in the 16th century and has played a significant role in the country's royal history. The palace is no longer a royal residence, but serves as the location for various ceremonial and official events, including the announcement of royal births. It is also one of the locations in the changing of the guard ceremony.
So here we are at Buckingham Palace. Now this is the royal residence of the royal family when they're here in London, right? So they don't live here most of the time. Most of the time they live in Windsor Castle, which is a couple miles west of the city. But when they're here in London, this is where they live. Now, you can see the changing of the guard. We didn't get it this day. It's not every day, it's every other day. So if you're interested in that, make sure you look online ahead of time to see when it is. It's usually like 10 to 11 a.m. about 3 days a week. So we missed that, but if you're not that interested in seeing it, it gets extremely crowded. I'd recommend going on a day without the changing of the guard because you kind of get more up close and personal with it. But it is definitely something to see, and there are tours of it, but there's no cameras allowed. But it's definitely something to see if you're interested in learning more about the royal family's life.
Buckingham Palace, with its impressive neoclassical facade and attractive and impressive Victorian memorial, has been the royal residence since the mid-19th century. It serves as the backdrop for many significant royal events and is the main site in the changing of the guard ceremony. The palace represents the monarchy's splendor, but also its historical and ceremonial significance, drawing thousands of visitors from across the world every year to its gates. Today we are in the West End of London, and more specifically Covent Garden and Soho. These neighborhoods really represent the beating heart of London, filled with bustling streets, attractive nightlife districts, amazing dining options, and many cultural amenities. Join me on a journey as we explore everything to do and see in London's most happening neighborhoods.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Project Gaia. Today we are in London, in Covent Garden and Soho, right? So this is the heart of London. So this is the busiest section. So you're gonna get the theater district, you get the most crowds. It really is the bustling heart of London. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through London and Covent Garden and all of these areas, and we're gonna show you the best things to do around here. So let's begin.
If you're between the ages of 25 and 35, this should look pretty familiar.
I'll give you a clue. Can you tell me how to get to platform 9 3/4? Yes, we are in King's Cross Station. This beautiful train station connects London to points north in England and is an architectural marvel in itself. And of course, you have to check out the section dedicated to that famous platform between worlds. Covent Garden really makes you feel alive. It is bustling, has an amazing buzz about it, and is the epicenter of nightlife, dining, and theater in London. It is a fantastic area to grab dinner before people watching throughout the whole area. Once you've had your fill, or if that famous London rain rolls in, head indoors to Covent Garden's famous arcade, where there are even more entertaining shops, restaurants, and performers. Work off your dinner in the arcade, and then as nightfall comes around, the neighborhood really comes alive.
Okay, so we are now in the main section of Covent Garden. This is called Floral Street. Now, this is an excellent place for nightlife. As you can see, it's very bumping, and I'm here on a Tuesday. So imagine like a Friday or Saturday night. So if you're in London and you want a lively atmosphere, you want a young crowd, a fun crowd, some nightlife, come here to Covent Garden. So the next thing that you have to see in the Covent Garden, Soho area is Piccadilly Circus, which is where I'm at now. Now this is like the Times Square of London, right? So you're gonna see, some of the big, electronic billboards, lots of lights, a lot of street performers. So it really is something to see. It's a very lively area, and it's something that is very interesting in this area. So definitely check this out when you're here. And I recommend going at night because obviously the electronic billboards are much more visible.
Piccadilly Circus pulsates with energy and makes you feel like you're in the center of Britain, surrounded by its iconic landmarks, dazzling billboards, red double-decker buses, and glitzy theaters. This central hub of London epitomizes the city's dynamic spirit and invites visitors and locals alike to marvel at the splendor of London's iconic reputation to the rest of the world. Make sure to check out Somerset House. This plaza, surrounded by a neoclassical building that was originally a royal palace, is a great place to rest and chill on your journeys throughout the West End of London. So how would I describe Soho, Covent Garden, and the West End in general? Well, it's busy, ritzy, expensive, happening, and fun. It is a destination that attracts people from all over the world for its unique buzz and liveliness. It's hard to describe as I witness people from all walks of life, ages, socioeconomic statuses, religions, and colors, all trying to get a taste of this lively place. And that's what makes it truly beautiful.
So we are now in Soho. This area of London is so busy. I mean, it really is a nightlife spot. I mean, the buzz in Soho is just something you can't even imagine. I mean, it really feels almost like Midtown Manhattan in New York City, right? There's just people everywhere, all kinds of cultures, poor, rich, tons of restaurant stores, some like big box, name brand ones that that are all over the world, really. But then there's some like cool little unique ones too, and it really has a ton of energy. If you're looking for a nightlife spot, I really recommend here because there's just bars and restaurants everywhere too. So definitely check out Soho. Now, one thing you have to check out when you're in the Soho area is Chinatown, right? And Chinatown is really cool because besides all the amazing and cheap Chinese restaurants, it's completely pedestrianized, so there's no cars in here. So it's one of the few areas in central London that you can walk around without being interrupted by all the bikes and buses and cars and vehicles, right? So I definitely recommend coming here. You can really spend a whole night out here. There's lots of different bars too. It's not just Chinese restaurants. I mean, that's like the majority of it, but it's also like a nightlife and dining hotspot for all kinds of restaurants and all sorts of bars. So definitely check that out when you're here. Okay, the next place you have to check out is Leicester Square, which is where I am now. So this is basically a giant plaza, right? But it has a lot of energy. There's a lot of street performers here and touristy, but there's some good restaurants you can go to, and it's a great place to just hang out and people watch. So definitely check out Leicester Square.
Leicester Square, located in the heart of Covent Garden, is a lively pedestrian-only square filled with street performers and offers the visitor excellent people-watching opportunities.
Now, when you're here, you must see the British Museum. Now, the museum is completely free, so London can get very expensive, so this is one of the good bargains here. And there are some of the world's greatest art and artifacts. I mean, this is like one of the world's museums. This is like the Met in New York, the Art Institute of Chicago, or like the Louvre in Paris, right? So this is one of the big world museums that you have to see in your lifetime. Now, the one thing that is most interesting in this museum is the Rosetta Stone. We're gonna see that inside. Now, the Rosetta Stone, if you don't already know, is the artifact that was found that cracked the code that finally decoded Egyptian hieroglyphics, right? And they have an amazing Egyptian section, as well as sections from all over the world. So let's head in.
The British Museum is one of the greatest museums in the entire world and offers you the opportunity to step back in time through multiple eras and witness art and artifacts from several civilizations throughout history. Take a look at this wall retrieved from ancient Iran that allows you to see some of the oldest writing found in existence. It utilizes the almost mythological writing style called cuneiform. The history buff will absolutely love this museum, as it contains some of the most precious and rare artifacts, helping archaeologists understand how people in particular areas lived during particular times and what they valued. You don't have to travel all the way to the middle of the Pacific to get a taste of Easter Island. This statue is retrieved from the mythological and fabled island, and its foreboding and mysterious presence makes you wonder who made these, were they of this earth, and why create an island filled with these statues. Make sure you check out the British Museum's famed Egyptian section, and this is the home of the history-changing Rosetta Stone. This was the stone that cracked the code to Egyptian hieroglyphics because they were translated into Greek. This helped archaeologists understand so much more about ancient Egypt because they could now read the writing. Today we are exploring London's fanciest and wealthiest area, Kensington and Hyde Park. This section of London oozes elegance and extravagance and is a fantastic area to explore. Whether you want to sample a bit of the high life, shop till you drop, stroll idyllic streets towered by elegant Georgian townhomes, or people watch London's glitterati, this area has a lot to enjoy. So join me on a tour as we explore the best things to do and see in this fascinating London district.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Project Gaia. I'm JP, and today we are doing Kensington and Hyde Park, London. Now, Kensington and Hyde Park is known as one of the ritzier, wealthiest neighborhoods in London, right? So you're going to see some really fine Georgian architecture and some of the most expensive real estate in London. So what we're going to do on this tour is we're going to explore the neighborhood, learn a little bit about its history, and we're going to go to some of the top sites and show you the best things to do while you're in this area of London. So let's begin.
Kensington is the home of London's most famous department store, Harrods. This London landmark is one of the most famous stores in the entire world, and it sure does deserve that reputation. It is filled with merchandise from some of the most best-known and famous designers in the world. First, I recommend checking out the basement of the store. Here you will find one of the most unique and fancy shopping center food courts you'll ever experience. This place is filled with familiar and bizarre ready-made and raw foods, and getting lunch here is a London must-do. Whether you're interested in fancy cuts of the best meats in Britain, or more looking to satisfy that seafood craving, or even just want a coffee, the Harrods food court has it all. Continue your way to the upper levels of the department store to find some of the most unique and fashionable clothing and accessories in the world. Here the world's best designer clothing is on display, and even if you can't afford these prices, you can still get a taste of what is fashionable in London to implement into your own wardrobe back home. After you're done exploring the famous store, I recommend you sit down in the elegant Harrods tea room and have a traditional tea break, as you'll need the energy for exploring more of Kensington and Hyde Park. If you're in your 30s, you might recognize this house. This is the Parent Trap house from the 1990s movie and is only a couple of blocks away from Harrods.
Now, if you're looking for a good place to dine when you're here in Kensington and Hyde Park, I recommend you check out the restaurants on Exhibition Road. So they close off the road and they make it all open for pedestrians, and there's lots of outdoor seating and cuisines from all over the world. So definitely has a good atmosphere and a good aura. So check this out if you're looking to eat around here.
Exhibition Road is a fantastic place to eat, drink, or people watch, and is filled with elegant and down-to-earth restaurants. This couple block strip is always bumping with people, and it is especially inviting as all the restaurants offer outdoor seating. It's a lively place to explore in Kensington and really allows you to experience the heartbeat of the neighborhood.
So we are now in Hyde Park. Now this is London's largest park, so you could really get lost in here. You could really spend up to a half day in here, really. So there's lots of different sections of it. There is a large lake. There's a lot of forests, woodsy areas, meadows. You see a lot of dogs running around here. Oh, you could hear them now. A lot of dogs just running loose in here. So it has kind of a raw feel, but it is a very large park, and I'm going to show you some of the coolest things to do and see while you're here in the park.
Hyde Park is London's largest park and is filled with tons of hidden gems and interesting things to explore. It offers you an excellent way to take a break from the hustle and bustle of London and to become a little closer to nature. The first place you should visit is the Princess Diana Memorial Fountains. This area is dedicated to the late princess who lost her life in a car accident in the late 90s. It is reflective, quiet, and reverent, but also beautiful, sort of emanating the soul of the princess that was so loved by UK subjects. Continue on your journey through the lush gardens and meandering labyrinth-like paths until you find the Peter Pan statue. This statue, built in 1912, commemorates the timeless tale that takes place in Kensington and Hyde Park. This statue supposedly marks the site where Peter Pan lands in the story after flying out of his nursery.
So some things that you'll notice about Hyde Park is it's a very raw park, right? So yeah, there are some lakes and some gardens and some statues, right? But it largely remains pretty undeveloped, right? So the land is pretty natural and raw. I mean, you're going to see bogs, you're going to see woods. It's a little different than St. James Park. So St. James Park is a much more manicured garden-like park. If you're interested in seeing that, take a look at our Westminster video. So that one's a little bit more like beautiful, I guess, but it's more man-made. This one is more natural.
Make your way over to the Italian gardens where, if it weren't for the dreary England skies, you'd actually think that you were in a palace in Italy. The garden is beautiful and is filled with impressive foliage, statuary, fountains, and ponds. It is a fantastic spot to stop and relax on your big exploration of Hyde Park and helps you really appreciate the beauty and splendor that London puts into maintaining this iconic city park. Next, check out Kensington Palace and Gardens. This elegant mansion was built in 1605 and served as the home of the late Princess Diana. If you're interested in touring the mansion, there are tours available on select days, so make sure to look ahead to book the tour. It is a fascinatingly beautiful palace with even more beautiful gardens. The gardens at Kensington Palace are free and open to the public, and I highly recommend strolling through this beautiful testament to Princess Diana's legacy. Right near the palace, you'll find Diana Memorial Playground. If you have young kids, they're going to love this place, as it is one of the nicest playgrounds I've ever seen. It is big, magical, and filled with things for your kids to explore all day. It is completely free and is fully guarded, requiring adults to be accompanied by children to enter, which gives a little privacy and exclusiveness to the park, plus an element of safety. Don't forget to simply walk around the neighborhood and lose yourself in some of the blocks. There are restaurants and pubs dotting many of the corners, and the exquisite Georgian architecture is not to be missed.
Okay guys, this was Kensington and Hyde Park. Now I had an amazing time showing you London's most elegant neighborhoods, right? So it really has such beauty, and you know, it is wealthier, but you know, I really felt that you could see everybody here. Like, it's not just wealthy people, and it's not snobby. It had a vibe where everybody was welcomed, and it really is a beautiful area to explore when you're here in London. Listen guys, if you like this kind of content, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Like this video, share this video with your family and friends. If you have any questions at all, please leave them in the comments below, or if you have any suggestions or any comments. Okay guys, until next time, take care. Bye.